Many cities were ruled by a political machine in the late 1800s. This team, which was commanded by a boss, managed the political party's operations in the city. It provided goods and services in return for financial or political support from corporations and voters. The jobs in the police, fire, and sanitation agencies were all under the boss's supervision. The boss had influence over the organizations that issued business licenses and provided funding for construction projects. Bosses gained followers and power due to their ability to exercise control and their problem-solving skills. There were also many immigrant bosses. They assisted immigrants in finding homes and employment by speaking to them in their own tongue. Immigrants promised to vote in return. Cities received essential services from political machinery. However, a lot of bosses got involved in corruption, or the illegal use of government influence for personal gain, to become wealthy and corrupt. Party members voted enough times under false names to win elections. The kickback was another impermissible behavior. Workers on city building projects would charge more for their labor and then kick back a portion of the money to the project's managers, who also accepted bribes from corporations in exchange for approving unlawful or dangerous operations. Boss Tweed, sometimes known as William M. Tweed, was a dominant political figurehead. He rose to lead Tammany Hall, the most potent Democratic political machine in New York City, and the Tweed Ring, a gang of dishonest politicians. Political cartoonist Thomas Nast made fun of Tweed in the press. The public eventually turned against Tweed's unethical actions. The Tweed Ring was dismantled by authorities in 1871. He received a prison term. Presidents had been vocal about the issue of patronage for many years. Giving government positions to members of the same party that supported a candidate's election falls under this category. As a result, lots of underqualified and dishonest employees were hired. Reformers sought to replace the patronage system with one based on merit. Regardless of their political beliefs, the best qualified candidates would be chosen for positions in the civil service or in government administration. Civil service reform was an attempt made by President Rutherford B. Hayes. He appointed independents to his cabinet and created a commission to look into custom houses, which are places where people go for favors. Then he dismissed two of the New York Custom House's top executives. Hayes made the decision not to seek re-election in 1880 in response to criticism from some Republican Party members. The issue of patronage hiring soon caused division among the party. The stalwarts were against altering the patronage system. The system might change, according to the reformers. The party ultimately decided on James A. Garfield, an independent who won the election for president but later shown to have ties to the reformers. A stalwart killed him shortly after he was elected. Chester A. Arthur, Garfield's vice president, took over as his successor. Although a stalwart, Arthur became a reformer after being elected president. The Pendleton Civil Service Act of 1883, a bill to reorganize the civil service, was pushed through by him. Using merit rather than politics, this statute established a bipartisan civil service commission to award government employment. The civil service was reformed as a result. Some governors were working on reforms in state administration at the same time. Theodore Roosevelt, the governor of New York, for instance, refused to fill civil service positions by favoritism. He disregarded the wishes of the state Republican machine with regard to policy, upsetting the Republican Party. By nominating Roosevelt to succeed the vice president who had passed away in office, the machine leaders hoped to have him removed from office. Roosevelt accepted the nomination, and the political system once again had control of New York. Mixed effects were seen with the Pendleton Civil Service Act. Government jobs were filled by those with greater qualifications. However, politicians found it difficult to ask for donations from supporters because they had no jobs to provide. As a result, a few politicians sought financial assistance from powerful figures. This improved the connections between business and government. In the late 1800s, political reformers also addressed the tariff problem. A tariff is a levy imposed on imports and exports of goods. Because they shielded American industry from overseas competition, big business backed maintaining or boosting tariffs. The Democratic Party opposed high tariffs because they raised prices. For many years, tariffs figured prominently in presidential elections. Grover Cleveland, a Democrat, was elected president in 1884. Because he lacked congressional backing, he attempted but failed to lower tariffs. Cleveland competed against the big business-backed Republican candidate Benjamin Harrison in 1890. Harrison received the majority of electoral votes even though Cleveland had more popular votes than Harrison. The McKinley Tariff Act, which he signed into law, increased levies to their highest point ever. Afterward, Cleveland defeated Harrison in 1892 and went on to become the only president to hold office for 2 non-consecutive terms. Cleveland supported lower tariffs but refused to sign legislation containing a federal income tax. Nevertheless, the Wilson-Gorman tariff was approved by Congress without Cleveland's approval, which resulted in lower duties. William McKinley was elected president in 1897. He increased them once again.